already played this game. Sue hasn't, so I'll explain the rules and things. It's a pretty simple game. It's, I guess you would think of it as like a set collection game, essentially. Kind of. But you're going to be able to do a little bit more than with a lot of the set collections. There are 5 families of cards in here, and they're all different colors. So I'm not sure if all of the colors are represented. Let me see. We've got yellow, blue, brown.
Missing one, I think.
We don't have. Oh, we got the blacks. So
okay, so all of them, I think.
I think so, right? 1, 2, 3,
green, red, black,
4. Yeah, we got them all. Yep, because we have 1 black one. And so the border of the card kind of helps you tell what family it is. And also, there's a symbol here. So in some cases, when you collect, you're going to want different symbols, and and the numbers you want different numbers too. And I'll explain that. It'll make a lot more sense when I explain it. But I'm going to explain the areas, and then I'll explain the cards and how we get the points and that sort of thing. The first thing we're going to do, though, before we get to that, is I'd like to have us check and see who the first player is.
Okay.
Because that will let us finish the setup. This game takes up a lot of real estate, so folks watching, some of it might not be quite visible, but we'll do our best. I wanted to try to make it so I wouldn't have to go way back. I wanted people to actually be able to see the cards. Okay, so 15. Okay. Get a 20, just do it. It would have been so great. Okay, so Aaron goes first. This is the first player token, and these kind of go on the edge. So yours won't show, but they go right here. And essentially your quest goes on the left, but maybe we can put ours on top of our victory points for a second so people can see. But essentially, these will not be our player turns through. The way the tournament works in this, it's going to be different each time. So it's possible, like, I might go first, and you go second, and Aaron go, depending on what we get for quests. So the first thing we're going to do is assign our starting victory points, because in some cases we might have to spend victory points using the cards that we're going to use. Aaron gets 1 because he's player 1. You will start with 2. And it also offsets the fact that we won't get to pick cards first. A little bit of an offset there. So those are our victory points. We start with 4 money. These are our columns that we use to purchase cards with, and this will make a lot more sense soon. I love how this game puts symbols on them. 1, because it looks cool, but 2, if you're colorblind, you can just match the symbol to what's on the card and still be able to play this game. So that's really awesome. Love that about this game. Now, there's kind of a few sections that I'm going to talk about. I'm going to bring up the book so I can explain this in order. And I'm just going to, full disclosure right now, this is a Chits and Giggles game, so we may get rules wrong. We likely will get rules wrong. If you're watching this on YouTube, feel free to comment to what we messed up on. Just please be nice, because we just play for fun. We'll get things wrong a lot.
Yep.
There might be 1 or 2 games that we haven't messed up, but even Takanoko we got 1 rule wrong and didn't even know forever. So, just to be aware, there will be wrong things, and if you're a rules lawyer, we will drive you nuts. And if you're not a rules lawyer, don't take this as a tutorial. It's not a tutorial, because we make mistakes. Just see if the game looks like fun. And if the game, yes, watch the game. If it looks fun and interesting, definitely buy the game. I guarantee you will think this is fun and interesting. This is a really neat game. So at the top, the kind of top column, that's the pediment, and right below the pediment is, if you notice, 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are actually quests that we will be doing. Each of us will be required to take 1 quest. And I'll explain all of how that works, but essentially each turn you're going to have 1 quest and 3 cards. Whether or not you actually do the quest will be a different thing. Whether or not the cards will be useful will be a different thing. But each turn we will be required to take all of those things at some point during our turn. Right below that is the staircase, and those numbers are the epochs. Now, this game is measured in ages or epochs. There'll be 5 of those. At the end of the 5th one, we will do our final scoring. And there are 4 phases in each epoch, which I'll be talking about. Below that is the Agora. That's what this is. This is just the name of the game. This is the Oracle. If we have a different, if you flip it over, it's the Oracle. That's for if we have a different family. I think Orion gets the Oracle, or Osiris gets the Oracle. I just put it here because I had Elysium written on it. I thought it looked cool, so it's going to stay down here. It also helps us keep this in some sort of semblance of order. But in the Agora, we have 10 cards because it's a 3-player game. We will not be using all these cards, but be aware, these cards only stay out for 1 turn. Okay. There will be new cards every turn. So if there's a card that you're really interested in and you can get it, because it'll go away. However, there are duplicates of these cards in the deck. So if you find a card that you really want, you just can't get it. Don't beat yourself up over it, because you may get a shot at getting it later. It could come out on the Agora again. So this is the pediment where our quests are, our staircase, where we track the epochs, the Agora where we purchase our cards, and then we have our columns, which are in here. There are 2 areas in your column. You have your domain and your Elysium. Your domain is where your active cards are. These are cards that you can use their abilities. The Elysium is where you write your legends. This is where you eventually graduate your cards to. You do not use the abilities in the Elysium, with a couple of very small exceptions. There's looks like an hourglass. Let me see if any are out on the board yet. There are not, but there's some that have what looks like an hourglass here. And that ability, or the benefit that you get from that card, actually happens when it's in the Elysium at the very end of the game, during the scoring phase. That's the only card that's like that. Most of the cards, the only benefit is when it's in your domain. And then when they're down here, you will use them at the end of the game. And this is where you're going to build your sets. Your Elysium is where you build your sets. And then you're going to score at the end of the game based on what types of sets you collected and how many of those types of sets that you've collected. And we'll talk about how you determine what those sets are, and what they give you for points. These are bonus points that we will be going for based on who collects certain sets first. So hopefully that makes sense right now. So right now, these are the cards that we have. Black is Athena. You don't have to know this. I'm just saying it because it's interesting. Black is Athena. The yellow with the hammer is Hephaestus. The brown with the wolf is Hades. There should be a purple card somewhere. Purple with the lightning bolt hand here is Zeus. What did I miss? I missed Osiris, I think. Is it Osiris? Oh, Poseidon. The dolphins, and the blue is Poseidon. So those are the families that are in play. And each card has levels 1, 2, or 3. That doesn't mean they're more powerful than other cards. It's just how you collect your sets.
Okay.
So you're going to be collecting numerical sets. You're going to be collecting matching number sets and that kind of thing. They're called level sets and family sets. So hopefully that makes sense as far as kind of the beginning stuff. And this little card that I gave you guys, we don't have it showing on screen, but everybody has, well, Aaron's is showing. This is just to help you determine, to know what the scoring means. We will not be using the middle section because that family is not in the game. Oh, but this little symbol right here, this hourglass symbol is what I was talking about.
Okay.
If you have a card with that, those you can put in your Elysium, and that's where you get the benefit for those cards.
Okay.
The other cards have other symbols, and those other symbols only work if they're up top. So once you basically, because you're going to want to graduate them eventually, so that's the one way to get points. If they're up here at the end of the game, you take them off the board, you don't get any points for them. So only the ones that you graduate down here. So the game becomes a balance of how long you want to keep the cards up here so you can get the powers versus when do you graduate them to get points. And there might be some cards that you want to keep out through the entire game. You never want to get points from them because the powers are so good. Depends. So hopefully that makes sense.
Yep, I know those.
You've seen some of those. So we're going to talk about the structure of the card and the structure of the quest, so that you know what they mean. Of course, we already talked about the level, and that's the family. This is the type of activity, and I'm going to go over all of them, but this is the type of activity, how you use it, or how you use the activity. This is the activity itself. And these will make sense, you know, as we go. And it does tell you on the bottom. You don't have to be confused by these. This is really good because it has the symbols like a Eurogame does. Maybe I should do that so people can see it. It has the symbols like the Eurogame does, but right below it, it tells you what they mean. So you don't have to memorize it. This is not Guildhall. We have to memorize it. And some combined with other things. This is, of course, the name of the card. And then up here, it's a little bit difficult for folks to see. And as we get these cards, we're going to want to say what the activation is going to be and what the power is. So that folks who are watching will know what we have in our domains. But up here is what it costs to buy it. And so what that means, you need to have that column here to buy it. You don't spend the column to buy it. It just has to be here.
Okay.
So right now we have all of the colors. So I could buy this card if I wanted to. If there's ever a black circle, that means any color.
Okay.
So if it has blue and black, that means I would spend one blue, or I need to have one blue and one of any other color. Because as we play, these are going to go off the board for the round. We pick which ones. This will make more sense when I talk about that phase. But we won't always have 4 columns available when we buy a card.
Yep.
So just be aware That's what the wild means. I don't think there's anywhere it's just a wild. Maybe there are. I don't think there are. Usually it's one other color plus,
Yeah,
you know, another
normally it is.
but that's kind of the structure of the cards. And then there's this side, which is a citizen. There are times where you may have citizens in our domain. They can help you, but there's also a detriment to them because you subtract points at the end of the game based on how many citizens are in your Elysium. But sometimes the balance is good.
And sometimes there's cards that negate those.
There are cards that negate them, but you can use them to help build sets more quickly. And there are times where you will have to take a citizen, and I'll explain that in just a wee moment. The other thing to talk about is the quests. The top, if you notice on the top of the pediment, there's colors. That's the color of the column that you need to have available in your column board to be able to buy that quest. So right now we can buy any quest that we want. Technically, I don't think number 4 should be in there.
I think it's...
Oh yeah, 3 or 4. You can still
Yeah.
buy it. You would just go last.
Yeah.
We'd probably give somebody a 3 instead. Only a 3, but
If you wanted more of the other points instead of the...
yeah. So on the top, that big number in the circle is obviously, that's going to be your player order. So if I buy that one on the very left, next round I'm going to go first.
Okay.
If there's ever a tie, you go by the current player order. So if it's hard to explain because we don't have a tie yet, but there is a way where you can get a player order tie because some people don't have completed quests.
Oh, right.
And I guess we'll talk about that when we get to it. But basically, you go by your current player order to determine what the actual player order is going to be. But it's possible we might all, like, only one person has a completed quest, and the rest of us don't. And so to determine the player order, we're going to go what the existing is. So, for example, if you bought player 1, right, we need to figure out who player 2 is, and Aaron and I both have incompleted quests. Aaron would actually be player 2 because right now he is higher. And then I would be player 3. So hopefully that makes sense. It'll make a lot more sense when we're playing because we'll be able to see the cards flipped and stuff. But quest cards have 2 sides to them. They have this side, which is the active quest, where you actually get to get the benefit of that quest. And then there's the inactive side, where you can still get sort of a benefit, but it's crappy. But you may sometimes have to take the other side of it. You might not get to have the active quest. And then on the bottom is what you get for those quests. And I'm going to talk about that when we talk about phase 3. Because phase 3 is when you complete your quests and get the rewards. So that's the basics. And then this is your level sets. Or family set. Actually, this is level sets.
Level sets.
And that's the family sets bonuses. And we'll talk about how you get those. So there are 4 phases in the game. There's Awakening, Action, Writing the Legends, where you transfer into your Elysium, and then there's the End of the Epoch, which is basically the cleanup phase. The first thing you're going to do is Awakening. We will not be doing Awakening because I already did it when I set this up. Essentially, with Awakening, you clear off all of the cards that were not bought. They go into the discard pile. We'll kind of probably have you doing this too because you're on that side where the cards are. Either you or Aaron, whichever is easier. And then you'll bring out 10 new cards, so 4, 3, 3. And that's going to be our new Agora for the next epoch. So that's the Awakening phase. And we don't have to deal with anything else because we don't have like Apollo or anything, so we don't have to deal with that setup. And then we go to the actions. So Aaron's going to go first, and then we go clockwise. Or right now we're going to go clockwise. It may change, but we go to the next person, the next one. Now, what you have to do during your turn is you have to take either one quest tile from the top or one card from the Agora. And you do that by having one of these available. So if Aaron wants to take a quest, he can say, okay, I've got Elon available, I'm going to take the first quest, or I'm going to take the second quest, whatever you want for the rewards. Or he'll take a card. And then you will do that, and then I will do the same thing. You must take a quest or a family card. If you do not have enough available columns, then you're going to take a citizen instead, or you might take an incomplete quest. And then like when you take a card, normally when you take a quest, it's going to go to the left, but nobody will be able to see it, so I guess we'll put it on top of our victory points so that people can see our quests. And then kind of have an idea of what we have. Now, once you've taken a quest or a family card, once your turn is done, you will choose one of these columns and remove it from your board. Just kind of put it off to the side.
Anyone you want.
Anyone you want. Even if I used a blue to buy this, I can take my green off. Now be aware that if you do that, that green is not available to buy other cards with. Now I can only buy cards that have blue, yellow, or red. This is where it gets complex because as you go, people could buy a card that you wanted and now you can't buy it. You don't have the right colors. So let's say I take this green and I want all that's left is green.
Yeah.
I can't buy that card.
Yep.
So, so be aware. Be aware of what's on your board before you choose what colors to take off. Same thing. Be aware of what's available for quests before you choose what colors to take off. You are taking a risk when you choose to take that color because until your next turn, you will not be able to buy anything with that color. And it can be, if you want it to be the color of what you purchased, it can be because maybe you only want one blue card, so you can get rid of the blue, and now you still have yellow, red, and you're only taking one each turn. So as we go, we're going to get fewer and fewer colors available to be able to make purchases with. Does that make sense? Now, if you need to buy a card and you can't, if you can get a quest, you must get the quest. You have to do that first.
Okay.
If you can't do that either, then you can choose to either, then you take a citizen.
Yeah.
You have to take a citizen. And by taking a citizen, you don't take one of these and flip it over. You just take the top card off. No one may look at what's under it. And it can never be flipped. And it goes into your domain as a citizen.
Okay.
And it'll just kind of sit there, not doing a whole lot until you decide to move it. Which can be never. You can choose never to move it. It's up to you. But that's what you're going to do. And then you're going to keep on going. You're going to remove a column again until you get to the quest. If you can't get the quest, like you've already got your 3 cards, right? And it's time to get a quest. If you can't go to quest, you will pass. You won't take any turns. You still need a quest, but you won't be able to take one. You can't take anything yet. Once everyone has finished doing this, then you're going to pick from whatever's left for quests. Because you don't get to just pick one and flip it. Like I can be like, I can't take a quest, so I guess I'll take first player and flip it. You don't get to do that. So you wait till everybody's bought their cards and their quests. And then in player order, whoever still needs to buy a quest, will take one, flip it over to the blue side, and put that there. You still get benefits, it's just not as good.
Yeah.
So be aware of that. If you first have to check to see if you can get a quest. If you can, you buy it. If you can't, you take a citizen. And you're going to do that each time until you have all your cards for that turn. Remember, 3 cards per turn, 1 quest. And then you pass until everyone else has done their stuff. And then you get to take a flippy quest. And that is... Now, during... The other thing we want to talk about are actions. That's what these little corner thingies are in the benefits down here. That also happens during Phase 2. There are actions that happen during Phase 3, and there are actions that happen during Phase 4, but the majority of them happen in Phase 2. The only action that can happen on other people's turns are permanent actions unless a card indicates otherwise. Some may have lasting effects that aren't permanent but can impact the other people's during their turns. If that happens, you go with what the card says versus what the rules say. But typically permanent cards are the only cards that affect all the time, regardless of whose turn it is. Every other kind of aspect will happen pretty much during your turn. Now, there's different types. If you see a lightning bolt, this action happens when you acquire the card, and it only happens once. So once you pull, like if I take this, I'm going to get 2 money. That's it. It's the only time I'm going to get the 2 money. As soon as I put them here, I get my 2 money. We're done. So those are considered instantaneous actions. If you have what looks like an infinity symbol, which we don't right now, but it looks like a little infinity symbol, that is a permanent action. You put it in your domain. As long as it's in the domain, it impacts you, regardless of whether it's your turn or not. The next thing that we have is, that I want to talk about is the arrow. This is an activate ability. And it activates once per turn. It resets, but it only activates once per turn. So what you would do is you put it here. During your turn, if you want to use the power, you turn it sideways. You get to use the power. And then during the 4th phase, when we're doing the end of the epoch, you'll put it back up. But so that's how you signify whether you use it or not. You don't have to use them during your turn, but if you want to, just turn them and just be aware that's the only time you can use it during that turn. Okay. And then we have trigger effects. These only happen once per game while you have it in your domain. So if I have this card here, we're going to put one of these on it. This is a trigger ring. Okay. And it just sits there until I use it. Now, if I graduate this card to my Elysium, if I write the legend, this just gets moved over here. I can't use that ability anymore because now it's in the Elysium, but it doesn't go off while you're writing that legend. You just simply don't get that benefit. But if during my phase 2 turn, while I'm taking actions, I want to use it, I take this off. Now it's been used. I use the effect. It will not happen again. You don't turn it. You don't do anything. It just doesn't have the ring on it anymore, so it can't be used again.
And I think there is ways to restore the rings, but they're very
There
rare.
are some cards I think that do. I'm pretty sure there are. But just be aware that's how that works. And then we have, we were talking about activate, we talked about permanent, we talked about trigger. There's the Ulysses, which is this symbol.
Yep.
If you have a Ulysses card in your domain and it's by itself, you may not use it. If you have any other card with that symbol on it, then you can use it. It doesn't have to be the same card. It can't be the same card, actually, because in the domain you can't have the same card. But if I have any other card, let's say this one was a Ulysses card. Now that I have 2, I can now use both of them.
Okay.
And now this one requires me to tap, so I used that word. Whoops, sorry, Richard.
Doesn't like that word.
Well, no, Richard Garfield has that word trademarked, so you can't say that.
Yes.
So you dance. You turn sideways. Not all of your Ulysses cards will make you do that. A lot of them do. A lot of them do require it once per turn. But some you just need to have at least 2 to be able to use any one of them. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So if I have 1, I'm setting up to be able to use it later, essentially. Because right now there's literally, I think, only 1
It is the only one.
ever. And then we do have another symbol that doesn't happen during the actions phase, but see that little harp? Or I think it's, they call it something. A lyre is what they call it, I believe.
It's a harp.
It's because it's a little hand harp. It's a little lyre.
Yeah.
That happens during phase 3 is when those effects happen, and also permanent effects. So that is our actions phase. I don't think I missed anything. Oh, I want to make sure that I talk about when we're pulling things into our domain, we may not have the same card type. So there may be 2 of these, this specific card, posthumous hero. If I have a posthumous hero, I cannot have another posthumous hero.
Okay.
I can have other cards from the same family that might be trigger effects, but just be careful. The picture will be the same, so it's very I don't think we have any duplicates. Do we?
Yeah,
We do. So you can't have these 2.
Can't have 2 divine aid.
Correct. You can have them down here. There's no limit to the cards down here. You're going to put them in sets in a different way, but while they're in the domain, you may not have 2 of the same card. You need to allow other players to have some of those cards, so they limit them. No limit down here. Very limited up here. I think that makes sense.
Yep.
And then once we've done all of our actions, we're going to write our legends. And the first thing that we do is we complete our quests. Or, no, I'm sorry, no, that's not true. We do the allocation of the order of play. So we're going to determine who goes when. So these are going to move. Then we complete the quests based on the new turn order. So we might... It doesn't make a whole lot of... It does. There are some tactical reasons why that's important.
Yeah.
The first couple rounds, I don't think it matters so much, so you'll get used to it before it becomes important. But we're going to allocate the player disc. Then we're going to a player with an incomplete quest automatically gets the disc with the highest number. That's how you do it, unless there's a tie.
Yeah.
So if you have 2, then you go by the player order. That's what I was trying to explain earlier, and I was not doing it very well. Then you receive your VP and your gold. So if you notice, each one of those gives you VP points. That's what the little symbol, symbol on there is. So for example, quest 1 gives you 2 coins and 2 VP. The number in the middle is how many legends you're allowed to transfer. 1. So if I take the player 1 thing, I can only transfer 1. I'm getting more money. If I take the player 2, I'm getting 3 coin and 1 victory point, but I'm allowed to transfer 2. Hi, Patty and Toby. Like if I have this card in my domain and then I transfer it, that's when these powers go off.
Okay.
So in this case, if I transfer at least 2 cards, I get 2 extra VP. So that would be a good one to get with the quest number 2. If I take quest number 2 and I have this and I can transfer 2 guys, transfer this one and 1 other, we're good. So that's what that means on that quest. Quest 3 gives you 5 gold and you can transfer 2. Quest 4 gives you 3 gold, but you can transfer 3. So early on, it might not matter. You might want to have a bunch kind of in your domain for a while, so you might take the lower ones. But the higher ones do have some value if you want to start building your sets.
Yes, they do.
And when you build your sets more quickly than others, you get rewards. That's what these bonus discs are, if you can build your sets more quickly. So that's how you do it. So you transfer... your transfer number is limited to what's in the lyre. And then every transfer costs you money. And the cost to transfer the card is equal to its level.
Okay.
So if I'm transferring a level 1 card, it costs me 1 gold.
Okay.
And so if I want to transfer a bunch of cards, I need to make sure I have enough gold to do that. That's why you get your gold first. So hopefully that makes sense. Oh, and I'm sorry. This transfer activity, you don't... I explained this incorrectly. I'm sorry. This does not have to transfer for you to use it. It just has to be in your domain. As long as it's your domain and you transfer cards. If I were to move this into my Elysium, I don't get that ability anymore. It has to be in your domain. But it happens only during the transfer phase.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. So, like, if you were to transfer 2, then...
Yeah, 2 other cards, not this one. But if I transfer 2, I get this benefit. And it only goes off during phase 3. It doesn't go off during phase 2 like the other actions do. So I'm sorry I explained that incorrectly. And all of your cards with a liar on there do need to remain in your domain for you to get the transfer ability. And it happens during the transfer phase of writing the legends. And then what we're going to do as we complete, once we've done everything, then you place your quests back in order up at the top. And then we'll move into the end of Epoch. But I want to talk about rules of legends before we talk about the end of Epoch. How do you build your legends? How do you get points for them? Why are you moving cards at all? There are a couple different types of legends. There's level legends and family legends. Level legends have up to 5 cards. And you can have any number of legends going at once. You can be building them any number that you want. At the end of the game, though, if you have anything that's by itself, it's just 1 card, it doesn't get discarded because there are things that affect the discard pile at the end of the game. It just gets removed from the game, so just put them aside. Anything in your domain and anything that is a single card in your Elysium does not count towards points. So you need to have at least 2 cards in each legend to be able to get points for it. A level legend is all of the same level. So if I have these 2 right here, like so, that is considered an incomplete level legend. There are 5 different colors, so if you manage to collect 5 different 2s in 5 different colors, so 1 of each family, 2, you have completed a level 2 level legend. I can have multiple level 2 level legends if I want to. Because maybe I have another blue that I want to put down here. That's going to start another one, because I can only have 1 blue in each level legend. Does that make sense for level legends? Once you hit 5, I guess you can stack them up and move them out of the way if you want to, or you can kind of put them like this so you know it's complete, or you don't want to flip them over, but or turn them sideways. However you want to do it to make room. I don't think we ran out of room last time, but if you do find that happens, you can move them aside. But essentially, that's an incomplete legend. Once I get 5 cards, it's complete. Now, once you get at least 2 cards, you get the level 2 card. And you get that. Oh, yeah, sorry, level legend, not family. Sorry.
Okay.
You'll get that. Now, here's how this works. There's 1 for each level. So we're going to use this as an example because I pulled the 2s. I've got at least 2 cards in my level legend. I take this. If Aaron then beats me and gets a 3rd card in his level 2 level legend, he gets it.
Yep.
If you then get 3, you get it. Until somebody completes it at 5. If whoever gets 5 is going to lock it out. They're going to get this, and it's permanent. You can build 5 later of level 2. It won't matter. You don't get this. It's the first time it happens. Hi, Toby. Thanks for making a mess. And we'll see you later. Yeah, you can go down anytime. He needs our leg.
Your leg.
I don't know why he got in that habit. So we can do that for 1, 2, and 3. So this will pass around until somebody completes a 5-card set in each level the first time. So it's going to be a little bit of a hot potato first. And then somebody will be annoyed at the end.
Families don't work that way.
No, families are different because there's only 3 cards in a family. Oh, that's right. So the first person who does it gets the 5. That's what it was. So the way families work, it's all the same color, level 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
The first person to do that for a family, so say I complete Zeus first, I get the 5. If Aaron completes Zeus the second, he gets the 2, and then anybody who completes anything afterwards, you get points at the end of the game, but you don't get the bonus.
Or, if you're lucky enough to complete it twice in a row before anyone else,
That
you'll
can happen
get
too.
5
You get
and 2.
You've done that.
Yes, I have.
It is entirely possible. It's not impossible. But just be aware that those are just bonuses that they don't pass around. They're not like this one where it's just kind of hot potato until you lock it out.
Yep.
It's just complete one because there's only 3 cards. Complete it, you get the first bonus. Complete it again, you get a secondary bonus. And again, you can have multiple of the same family legends going if you want to, because you might have 2 level 1 Hades cards. Start 2 different family legends if you want to. Once you start a legend, though, you may not move cards around. So once I've picked like a level legend, like if I had those 2 here, for example, if I start a Hephaestus like family legend, I can't just be like, well, let's just slide this over here. I'll say I bought this and put it down. I can't move it.
Okay.
Once it's assigned, it stays together with the cards it's with. But I can start other multiple legends if I want to. And that is how those legends work. However, there are other things that can be used. You can use citizen cards to complete a legend. So let's say, again, we're going to use this as an example this time. I've got these 2 down here, so I've got a family legend going, and I have a citizen.
Mm-hmm.
To transfer a citizen, it costs an amount of gold, the card that you're filling in for. It becomes a wild card.
Okay.
So if I want to put it in here, I must spend 3 gold because it's going to be a 3.
Okay.
So I'm going to put it right there. Now I've got my 1, 2, 3. I've completed that family. I spent my 3 money. That's complete. At the end of the game, he's going to be worth -2. But if I'm the first one completing this, I'm
You
going to
get
get
the
5
5,
anyway.
yeah.
So it's still a bonus 3. It's not great, but that sometimes, depending on how I'm seeing the boards going, I might want to do that. Especially with the bigger sets that are harder to get. Same, if I were filling in for 1, it would cost me 1 gold. If I were filling in a citizen for 2, it would cost me 2 gold.
He's definitely worth it if you're doing that. Oh no, I don't think they can. They fill in for them. Yeah, they can.
Yep,
right?
they sure can.
Yeah.
So if I had like the 2 2s, for example, I can be like, there's another 2 of a different color.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
yeah, and then and it's a wild card, so I can fill in the other 2s. It just becomes whatever color I don't have.
Yeah.
So that's how the citizens work. But be aware, too many citizens at the end of the game can hurt you because you will be subtracting points for those citizens at the end of the game. Mm-hmm. And then the last thing we do is our end of epoch, where we, after you've completed our transfers, you put your columns back on your board, you write any cards that you've tilted, and the epoch marker gets moved up 1. And if we get at the end of the 5th epoch, we still kind of clean everything up, I guess. But that's when the Chronos powers go off, when we start looking at our points.
Yeah.
And I just want to explain real quick the Chronos power. If it has an equal sign, it might not have any symbol on it, but if it has a equal sign on it as well, that means that it reminds you like what the optimal time to use the power, or how to use the power more optimally. So it helps you guide you as far as how you're calculating your points at the end. So they don't mean a whole lot initially, but just kind of look at them. It tells you in the words too, so I don't even know why they explain it too much in this thing. But each family legend that has at least 2 cards is worth 3 VP at the end of the game. If it has 3 cards, it's worth 6. This is in addition to any bonuses you got.
Okay.
Level legend cards, if you have at least 2 cards in the level legend, you get 2 VP. 3 cards is worth 4. 4 cards is worth 8, and 5 cards is worth 12. So doing a whole set is worth a lot. And then on the back here of this manual, we have like the symbols explained. So if you get confused, it's there. And that's the game. That's how you play. It's actually pretty simple, to be honest. And then we're gonna start with Aaron. He's gonna pick a card to request.
I immediately get 2 gold.
Yes. Sorry.
And I will ditch.
Your turn.
I was actually going to do the same thing. So I can just take it.
Yep.
Because I have a yellow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
I have to look at what some of this stuff is, so I can't see it from here. Okay. And I think that's the same thing. Discard to transfer an extra one, I bet.
Yeah, it is
That's what that
discarded.
is. What is this? X is on everything. All other players choose to discard either 1 card from their domain or 2 gold.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's brutal.
Yep.
I'm afraid to leave this in here. That is.
If I wanted it, I already have it.
The game is still young, though.
I know.
That's a 2. I will take it.
All right. I will lose 2 gold.
So we should choose between a...
Yep, 2 gold or something.
Your card.
Your card gets discarded. And I'm going to get rid of... yellow.
Good, no more competition with that.
Yeah, I figured.
Pick this one up. And I will get rid of green.
And just mention, like, if it
Oh, yeah.
doesn't...
Oh yeah, this one I received 1 gold during the
Transfer phase?
transfer phase.
Oh yeah, you had that before.
Yes, I have.
Look at that too, just so I'm not looking at it and wasting our time.
That was a cool one, but it benefits
Yeah, it is.
everyone.
I'll take this one.
It's still not bad though.
No, it's
So
not
this
bad.
is the one I can't use until I get another one.
Yes.
Yep.
And then which
And,
column? Hmm. Okay, I'm gonna take this one. I'm tempted to use it right away.
It's up to you.
Let's do it. So I will get 1 gold, 1 victory, and you guys can choose to take either 1 gold or 1 victory.
I'll take gold, please.
Here you go.
Me too.
It offsets the crap I just hit you with earlier a
Yeah.
little bit.
We offset it with our first
Well,
card.
yeah, I know, but I kind of took
Yeah.
back what you had just gotten with that card, and granted, you're not using the card just for that.
Yeah. And
I'm trying to think. Sorry.
that's fine.
Hmm. I'm gonna take the blue off.
When you complete the quest or whatever, the symbol that says how many cards you can transfer down, do you have to do that many, or is it just up to that many?
It's
Mhm.
up to that many.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. You don't. No. It gives you your max number.
Okay, I was gonna
But
say.
if you only
so-
transfer 1, that's okay. It just means it gives you more availability.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But you're not required.
Okay.
I see what you're asking.
Okay, yeah. I already forgot what the symbol was called, so I'm like the thingy.
The lyre.
The
The
heart. The baby heart. I mean, I might as well get blue.
Blue quest.
Please.
Okay.
And we don't flip it right
Nope.
now? Or?
We don't
No, you
flip.
don't have to
No,
flip it
the
off.
flip
You
it
get-
side is crap.
Yeah, the flip it side's
Oh,
awful.
okay. So it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you can't buy any of them, which is
Uh,
very close to happening with our first round already.
Yep. I'm safe now though because I can
Yeah,
just
you
get
are safe now.
the green if I want. I was worried for a second. I was like, oh.
Oh yeah.
When you did that, I was like, And I looked over there. I was like, oh, I'm still kind of safe.
Depending on what you took, yeah.
Yep, but now I'm good. I got 2 options, so I'm gonna buy this too.
That's good. Good, thank you.
And I'm going to get rid of red. Well, I figured I started with 2s. I might as well keep on going with the 2s.
Thank you.
Ah, jeez.
So I have to take that pretty much, right? Yeah.
If you have the ability to buy it,
yes.
yeah. 'cause you're a
Otherwise,
citizen.
otherwise you'll get a citizen. Yes.
I forget how the target one works anyway.
That one, this goes here,
Oh, right.
and it can be used once per game.
Yep.
And that one lets you transfer a citizen for free, I think, if you
Mhm.
need to. which you don't have any yet, but
Yeah.
down the road. And I will take the green.
Yep.
Quest. Thank you. Okay, so now we are going to move into the Write the Legends phase. So we determine the player order first. So
You are 2, so you'll get this.
Yep.
You are 3, so you would get
the 2. She
2,
stays
so
2.
I get 3.
So we basically go in the opposite order now. Okay, so now we can write. First we get a gold.
Yep. So
So you get,
I get 3.
3.
Oh, 4. This one is when I receive a gold as well during the Writing the Legends phase.
That's my
There
5.
you go. I get 3.
Oh, right.
And then we also do the victory points. So I will get 1.
Yep, I don't get any of those.
None.
Really?
No, our
Both of
quests
you?
don't give us them.
Okay. And then starting in player order, we're going to transfer however many we want to transfer. So I'm going to transfer. Well, that's interesting.
We could get 2 more VP.
I was thinking of doing these two, but that's not worth it. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I guess I'll only be using that one turn.
I mean, technically you don't have to transfer anything. You don't
I
want.
don't, but I want to. Alright. Because that one I already used.
Yeah.
And then this one I can use more than once, but I guess I could have only transferred 1. I want the victory points.
Yeah. So 2 more VP.
And that can go back up there because mine's done.
Your turn. To transfer, if you wish.
I guess
I
that's
have
it
2,
for
so I
me.
can have this.
And I will spend 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Woo!
And transfer all 3 of my cards.
Yeah, I don't blame you for that.
Yeah.
Which means
He's gonna
I
get
get
that.
my bonus.
Yup. Nice. And then your quest can go back. And then we move the epoch marker up by 1. Well, that's technically next phase. We'll
Yeah.
put these out. And then we start with the awakening for phase 1 of turn 2.
So 4 for the top.
Yep.
There's one of those infinities. 2 of those infinities. Apparently
Wow.
the first row
Somebody's
is
gonna be
almost...
building a set of 3s pretty soon. Hmm.
2, 3. And doubles again.
Jeez. Sorry,
No, that's fine.
thinking. Oh, my Lanta. The heck is this?
A weird one.
Yeah. This card is worth 1 VP for each set of 3 VP on your board. Oh, over here. So
Yeah.
at the end of the game.
Yeah, he's worth... It's depending on how much VP you've got built up, he could be worth quite a bit.
Wow. Damn. I kind of want that, actually. So I will take that, and then I will get rid of... Ooh, Lord. I will get rid of the... something.
Yeah, it's gonna hurt no matter what color you get rid of.
Holy crap. Yeah, it is. Yellow.
Alright.
Yeah.
This
Just
round is gonna
double
make me
checking
cry.
how these things work. So, like, say I got that. Do I.
You can end up using both.
Yeah. Do you use them right away?
No, you can choose when you use them. During the first phase. Granted, if you were to use this one to transfer your other one, you wouldn't be able to use him again until you got another one.
Yeah, but don't you only use them once?
No, they can be used multiple times. It's just on the next epoch set. Lightning bolts are one time.
Yeah.
Which we have none of. So, oh no, sorry, we do.
There's one.